On a cold December night, in a small town where people hurried past one another without even looking, a young waitress named Emily Carter was finishing her late shift at a struggling diner. Her hands were sore, her tips barely enough to buy groceries, and her dreams of a better life seemed to slip further away each day. But that night, everything changed, because across the frosted glass door of the diner stood a man no one else wanted to see, a homeless man, shivering, hungry, and invisible to the world. Emily noticed him, and the decision she made in that moment would alter the course of her life forever. Emily, 24, wasn't just a waitress. She was a daughter carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. Her mother was sick with a heart condition, medical bills piling up like mountains. Her younger brother, Alex, had dropped out of college to help, but couldn't find steady work. Their father had left years ago, leaving behind only broken promises. Every night Emily tied on her apron, wiped tables with a smile, and whispered encouragement to herself in the bathroom mirror. Just one more day, Emily. You can do this. But behind her smile was exhaustion, fear, and a deep sense of loneliness. That night, the homeless man pushed open the door timidly, as if afraid his very presence would anger someone. His clothes were torn, his beard long, his eyes hollow from hunger. The diner was nearly empty. Other customers glanced at him with disgust, one even muttering, "Why do they let people like that in here?" But Emily walked over gently. "Sir, are you hungry?" she asked softly. He hesitated. I don't have any money." Emily glanced at her manager, who shook his head disapprovingly. But something inside her, something stronger than fear of losing her job, made her act. She led him to a booth, poured him a hot coffee, and from her own meager tips, paid for a warm meal, scrambled eggs, toast, and soup. As he ate with trembling hands, tears welled in his eyes. "No one's looked at me like a human in a long time," he whispered. His name was Daniel. Between bites of food, Daniel opened up. He wasn't always homeless. Once, he was an architect, with a wife and daughter he adored. But tragedy struck. His wife passed away suddenly, and grief consumed him. He spiraled into depression, lost his job, and one by one, everything he had slipped away. Emily listened intently, her own struggles reflected in his story. Two broken souls, meeting by chance, finding comfort in each other's presence. But Emily didn't know Daniel was hiding something more. Something that would soon turn her world upside down. The next day, the diner manager called Emily into the office. "We don't run a charity here. That man you fed. If you pull another stunt like that, you're out." Emily nodded silently, fighting back tears. Losing this job would mean losing the roof over her family's head. Yet that night, Daniel returned not for food, but to thank her. He handed her a crumpled piece of paper with a sketch of the diner. His hands still had the elegance of an architect. "You gave me hope when I had none," he said. "Someday, I'll repay you." Emily smiled politely, though in her heart she doubted he could. Weeks passed. Emily's mother's health worsened. Hospital bills doubled. Emily broke down one night, sobbing in the empty diner after hours. She felt like the world had forgotten her. Then, one evening, Daniel stopped showing up. Days turned to weeks, and Emily assumed he'd either left town, or worse. Life felt heavier than ever. Until one morning, Emily received a letter in the mail. It was handwritten. From Daniel. The letter explained everything. Daniel wasn't just an architect. He had once owned one of the largest firms in the city. Though he had lost everything, he had recently reconnected with his estranged daughter, who urged him to rebuild his life. Daniel had begun working again, and with his daughter's support, he had regained stability. But the turning point, the reason he even chose to fight for a second chance, was Emily's kindness that night in the diner. And enclosed in the envelope was a check. Enough money to cover her mother's surgery, her family's debts, and more. Tears streamed down Emily's face as she clutched the letter. She whispered, "Thank you, Daniel." Her mother received life-saving surgery. Her brother re-enrolled in college, and Emily herself, inspired by Daniel's resilience, decided to pursue her own dream, opening a small cafe where everyone, rich or poor, was welcome. Years later, she placed a framed sketch of that diner on her cafe wall, the same one Daniel had drawn on that crumpled paper, because it wasn't just a picture of a building. It was a reminder of a night when two broken souls saved each other. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness can ripple through the world in ways we may never imagine. One meal, one smile, one decision to see someone not as they are, but as who they could be. Kindness doesn't just change others, it can change your life forever. So the next time you see someone invisible to the world, remember Emily and Daniel, and choose kindness.